9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Liftoff.
Vehicles will apply safety launch pad.
Beginning pitch over.
Stage 1 propulsion is nominal.
The beginning of the swarm has begun its ride to space with that clean Electron liftoff from LC-1. Electron's trajectory will take it up and over the South Pacific Ocean as it heads away from the launch pad. Our first mission milestone will be max Q, otherwise known as maximum aerodynamic pressure, which is the moment where Electron experiences the most amount of stress as it climbs through the atmosphere. We're coming up on that moment now and expecting to hear the call for max Q shortly.
Heat-free battery discharge nominal. Cleared max Q.
That is Electron clear through max Q, with the rocket now at 15 kilometers in altitude and moving at over 2,200 kilometers an hour.
Next up, Electron will perform 3 actions that are only seconds apart. The first is called MECO, or main engine cutoff, and this is when the 9 engines that you can see glowing at the bottom of the rocket there shut off in preparation for the second step, and that move is called out as stage separation, when the first stage of Electron separates from its second and falls back to Earth. Now the third call out after separation should be second stage engine ignition, when the single vacuum optimized Rutherford engine fires up to maintain the mission's course to low Earth orbit. Now those 3 events are approaching fast, so we'll bring up the audio channels from mission control now.
"15 seconds to staging.
Entered burnout detect mode.
MECO confirmed. Stage 2 ignition confirmed.
Stage separation successful.
There we go, that was MECO, stage separation and engine start on the second stage. We have had a nice clean camera feed of those things happening, with the camera view now held on the second stage engine as it powers the mission on. Beginning of the swarm is now over 100 kilometers above Earth, past the Kármán line, and moving at more than 8,000 kilometers an hour. The next mission milestone is fairing jettison, or separation of the nose cone, and that's what protects Neonsat 1.
As you just saw, fairing jettison is now complete. We dropped those 2 fairing hubs early into the mission because they're not needed for satellite protection anymore now that we're through Earth's atmosphere. That dead weight is gone, and the mission is now a step closer to our first payload deployment at 520 kilometers.
We have a couple of minutes to go until our next mission milestone, and that will be the battery hot swap on the second stage, currently expected to take place at the T+6 minutes 20 second mark. Right now though, Electron's second stage is continuing along nicely to our target apogee of 520 kilometers for our first payload deployment for KAIST. This KAIST satellite is the first of up to 11 satellites planned by them, which will help to increase the program's observation rates of once every 2 to 3 days to 3 to 4 times daily.
It's T+4 minutes into the mission. Electron is still progressing smoothly through flight, and all remains healthy with KAIST and NASA's satellites. For NASA's payload, packed into this small satellite are composite booms that will unfurl once the payload is deployed, much like how a butterfly's wings emerge from its cocoon. This satellite will test how the pressure of sunlight pushing against its sails moves the satellite around. The closer to the sun, the better to test its solar sail technology, hence the reason for this mission requirement of a much higher orbit than the primary payload on Electron today.
Throttling down.
T plus 5 minutes 32 seconds, and our launch operator's next call out will be for the battery hot swap. Our rocket engine's pump is battery powered, and since it's been flying for a while now, its power source is starting to run low. So, to keep the engine and the mission going, Electron's engine power system swaps to a new battery pack for fresh and continuous energy supply to the electric pumps. The old set of batteries will be discarded, which you can sometimes see on the screen as it happens. So let's listen into mission control for that call.
Hot swap successful.
And as confirmed by Mission Control, battery hot swap has been completed for the second stage Rutherford engine. Propulsion remains nominal and the mission is continuing on its journey to that first payload deployment with KAIST and NEONSat-1. Now, of course, once NEONSat-1 is deployed, that is only the first of 2 satellites to be released on this mission. Electron is also carrying NASA's Advanced Composite Solar Sail System satellite that will be deployed at twice the altitude we're heading to now, from 520 kilometres above Earth to 1,000. To do that, we'll first need to repeat the stage separation process we completed earlier in the mission, this time separating Electron's third stage, or kick stage, from the second stage that's currently firing hot on your screen. That second engine cut-off milestone, which you'll hear called out at SECO, is expected at around 9 minutes into the mission.
T plus 7 minutes 47 seconds into the flight, and the mission is continuing nominally. If you take a glance over at the right of your screen, you'll see some telemetry from Electron's second stage, showing us that we have about 16% of propellant remaining. We're currently cruising along at a speed of over 21,000 kilometers an hour and approaching an altitude of almost 209.
We're coming up now to engine cutoff on the second stage, the last action this stage will perform for the mission. Much like with the first stage, Electron will power down the Rutherford engine on the second stage to allow the kick stage to separate cleanly. We time the engine shutdown for right as we reach that target perigee of 250 kilometres. Let's listen out for that engine shutdown and stage separation now.
SECO confirmed.